Hi, I'm Rachel, and I want to be popular at school. How else? Everything depends on your level of popularity. Will your classmates greet you, make friends? At what table in the dining room can you sit? And where will you ride on the school bus? The higher the rating, the cooler you are.
Stop! Watch where you're going! I could have hit you!
Suddenly, a cyclist braked right in front of my nose. Because of my thoughts, I was completely lost and began to cross the road without even looking around. Sorry, I didn't mean to, I mumbled. The guy was a little older than me, and judging by the clothes and the big backpack on his back, he worked in a delivery service. For a couple of seconds, the guy looked at me with interest, and then, looking at his watch, he jumped on the spot.
Crap! I'm late! Need help! Give me a call! And be careful! What is your name?
He was already shouting on the move, turning the corner. Rachel! I shouted, but the guy has already disappeared. He's a strange one. Hiding the business card that he just handed me hastily, I walked further to the school. What was I talking about? Popularity. As you already understood, if I talk about it so much, then my popularity level is below 0. And it is true. I tried different ways to fix it. At first, I decided to become a cheerleader. But at the first exam in the level of physical fitness, I failed miserably. Hanging out with a group of fashionistas was not all affordable for me. Every day I had to come to school in a new outfit, the cost of which was equal to my mother's weekly salary. I am silent about intellectuals. I survived only one meeting of their business club, and then I fell asleep in the middle. Of course, there is still the cream of society, the coolest guys in our school. But there is definitely no way for me to go there. There are only the richest, coolest, most desperate guys. And in order to get into this company, you have to pass more than one test. And not everyone can cope with it. And they were turned on by George. Quite a sassy guy who uses his charm to the fullest. I don't argue. He is an unreal handsome man. And every girl at school dreams of dating him. And even I. But I clearly understood that George would definitely not look in my direction. But somehow, a case turned up that changed a lot. For now, subscribe to the channel and please click on the bell. And I will tell everything in colors. My parents wanted to arrange a weekend for themselves. And now they announced to me that this weekend I will stay at home alone. Wow, this was my chance. I decided to organize a small party just for my closest friends, and I have very few of them. But in order to at least reach the status of a girl to hang out with, I took a chance and called some of the most active girls from the class. I didn't see much excitement in their eyes, only the information that the house will be at our complete disposal all night cheered them up a little. Scrolling through my head about what I need to buy for the party and if I have enough savings for this, I almost ran into George.
Hi, I heard you're throwing the party of the year tomorrow. Am I on the guest list?
George grinned. Wow, how quickly rumors spread.
Whoa, have you swallowed your tongue?
Of course, come. George nodded smugly and already on the move. As if, by the way, he said, I'll take a couple of friends with me, okay? In principle, my answer was not important to him. Well, I wanted to jump from happiness. George at my party? Yes, the whole school will make noise about it. But the evening of the next day, everything was ready. I cleaned the house, bought various sweets and cola. According to my calculations, 10 people should have come. Well, maximum 12. After all, George wanted to take one of his friends. By 7, a company of girls pulled up. They stuck together, whispered, but I didn't care. They are at my party. I turned on the music, put popcorn, snacks on the table, when suddenly there was a knock on the door so loud that we all jumped together. George was standing in the doorway with big speakers blasting crazy music.
Hey, and here we are!
George unceremoniously pushed me away and stepped aside. And behind him stretched a whole string of noisy guys. Not 2, not 3, but a crowd. I asked to roll the music, as the windows in the house had already begun to rung, but no one heard me. The guys kept coming and coming. I was horrified to see what kind of drinks they bring with them. My parents would definitely not approve of this. Half an hour later, my recently neat and clean house looked like a dump. The guys, most of whom I didn't know at all, behaved terribly. They danced on the table, dumped in their boots on the couch, swam dressed in the pool, played golf in the living room. From this madhouse, I have already started to have a headache. I really felt bad when I saw that my mother's favorite Venetian crystal vase was smashed to smithereens. And the curtains! Those were very expensive curtains from Italy. Bought last month, are torn and some guy is riding on them. I was horrified. The doorbell rang, and then there was a persistent knock. It was Mrs. Bedford's neighbor. She was beside herself with anger. It's late at night, and here it is. They threatened to call the police if we didn't calm down. I promised her I'd fixed everything. Barely finding George in this crazy crowd, I asked him to help me stop everything.
No, dear. You wanted a party, so get it. Relax and have fun.
George brushed me off like a pesky fly. Yes, I was not ready for this. And what to do? I sat down in a corner and sobbed. Maybe I should call my parents. I started pulling out my cell phone and suddenly saw a business card. Oh yeah! The delivery guy handed it to me. How did he say? Need help? Call? That doesn't sound right. But a second later I dialed his phone number. Martin, so it was indicated on the business card. In about a miracle, he answered right away. Quickly explaining myself, I realized that Martin would rush in now. Really? What a delivery guy can do to a bunch of these crazy creatures. And 10 minutes later, I heard the siren of the police car. My stomach froze. A neighbor called the police. Now I'm gone. Many of my intruders also heard the sirens and saw the police car parked on the lawn, and some immediately fled through the back door. But the most daring continued to have fun. The front door slammed open. A policeman stood in the doorway, glaring menacingly around.
You got a complaint. Nobody come out.
There was no need to say anything else. My house was empty in a minute. The frightened crowd skipped across the yards. Only the heels gleamed. Somewhere ahead, I saw George. Yeah, where did his pomposity go? Thank you, officer. I started warily.
Hey, Rachel. I did not recognize.
Martin? The police officer turned out to be the same guy from the delivery. Are you a policeman? Martin laughed in response.
No, this is my older brother's uniform. And his car. I thought that you definitely don't need problems with the police, but you also need to disperse this menagerie.
You saved me, Martin. I am now in your debt. Glancing at the mess in the house, Martin winked at me.
Wait a second to thank. We still need to put things in order here.
Martin and I cleaned all night. Of course, it was impossible to hide the torn curtains and the broken vase from the parents. I was expecting a harsh reprimand and house arrest, and I also had to get a part-time job in a pizzeria to pay for all the damage. But I didn't complain. Everything is fair, and you must answer for your mistakes. At school, George came up the next day and even tried to apologize. Like, you're a cool girl, Rachel, blah blah blah, but with parties, it's always like that. Believe it or not, but I told him to go to hell, so that everyone who ran through the school corridor at that time could hear. George went nuts, and I raised my personal level of self-esteem. They began to greet me more actively at school. So this is how you can become popular. It's funny. But now I didn't care much. Seems I fell in love. The moment the guy on the bike nearly hit me, and then rushed to the rescue on my first call. And then he came to the pizzeria, where I worked part-time and made me laugh when I was insanely tired. A chance acquaintance with this boy had changed a lot in me over the past 2 months. I stopped looking at others, equaling someone. I realized that I can be interesting too, and cheerful and cool, and there is a person who does not care about all these ratings, but it is me who is important. I'll tell you a secret. Tomorrow, Martin and I have a real date. My house arrest is over, and I'm free. Now I will live as I want, communicate with whom I want. Does not matter what they think about it at school. This is true freedom. What I wish you too.